Welcome back to the Seven Seas. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, where Sonic has to realize that he can run across the water to get to the island.
That was a good bit, actually.
It was alright.
Is that the one that's got the temple in the ocean?
Yes.
Yeah, that was cool. I like the goofs that Sonic does in the Sonic movies. I like that stuff.
He's a goofy guy.
He's a goofy guy, and I appreciate that. I don't appreciate when characters that I take seriously, like Robotnik,
This is not where I want to be. Shit.
do that. But I don't know why I was expecting Jim Carrey to not be goofy.
That's literally his whole thing.
He does that in everything.
What I can say, though, obviously a little bit disjointed because I didn't watch them, like, completely back-to-back. One of the things that kind of bugged me about 3 is it felt like they did the bit a little too more often of, like, oh, what? X question mark, and then a second later, X exclamation point. What are you gonna do? Take the key from us? Oh, they took the key from us! And et cetera, happened like a lot in 3, like back to back.
Yeah, that just wasn't that funny, that stuff.
I can't remember how much it happened in the first and the second one, so I don't know if it was actually like happening more in 3, but I felt it happening more in 3.
I think
yeah, I would agree with that. I think that happens a lot.
Stuff in 1 was, because 1 was much more of a developing story than anything, because they had to get from point A to point B with the characters.
They had to establish it.
They had to establish
to establish this whole ass world, you know?
So I think from 2 and 3 is when, like, okay, we've set up the main characters, we're introducing some new side characters, and that's kind of what they do. But they didn't really do anything more once they'd established the characters in 2. They didn't do much with them in 3. Knuckles and Tails don't do anything. They don't.
3? I mean, they actually do a little something with Knuckles, which I like, which is like Knuckles feels betrayed by Sonic because this is the part of his Sonic's like revenge arc, is that he wants to take the Master Emerald just to get revenge, and Knuckles is like, you told me you wouldn't do that shit, and so they have a falling out. Which again is part of Sonic's arc of like, what's he willing to do? What's he willing to lose for revenge, you know? And one of them being his friends, and it's fucked up.
And then Tails is kind of there.
And then Tails was also kind of there.
It's kind of weird because Knuckles is kind of is dumb, but I guess he's dumb in a way that's like he's just not he's not exposed to the cultures that he's dealing with.
Yeah.
But he's actually got some like deep wisdom a lot of the time.
He's not dumb, he's simple. When there is a big difference between the two of those.
Yeah, because like Sonic was getting all emotional and he's like, don't do this.
You know, I want to say I like everyone's interpretations in these films. I think that they all sit with me well. There are Sonic interpretations, like you think he's a hard character to fuck up, but I think there are some in the games that I don't like very much. Shadow is very easy to fuck up, and they actually wrote him correctly, which I'm very happy about.
Yeah.
Because he's not just an Edgelord, he's actually kind of a nice guy, he's kind of a good guy.
He's just got like some deep inner conflict.
He does. They fucked him up so bad that by the time it got to Sonic Boom, he was literally the guy who was saying, friends? You don't need friends. Friends just hold you back. And he's like, Shadow would that is literally the last thing that like the actual Shadow would ever say. Shadow's entire motivation is because of his friend.
Yeah.
Why would you write this? It's because of the stupid fucking hack Sonic writers that were around in that time were just awful. God damn it. Sorry, I'm getting annoyed now. Don't talk to me about fucking 2010s era Sonic.
What, 2010s? I feel like from like 2008 onwards.
No, I'm talking about the, or maybe 2008. I think it was around Sonic Colors. They brought in some new writers
Sonic
for Sonic.
and the Black Knight as well?
Maybe.
And Sonic Rings? Sonic and the Secret Rings?
No, I think it was after those guys. I think it was after those guys. It was around that time anyway. That Sonic Colors was the first game where that really happened, where they brought in these new writers, right? They apparently didn't know a lot about Sonic, and so they got all their info off like the Wikipedia page.
Oh.
And yeah, so as a result, they write Sonic really, really basically, and it's really kiddie and shitty, and I just hate it.
Chili dogs.
Instead of kind of having a bit of edge to him, Sonic's all about the power of teamwork and like doing cool things and helping the environment. And it was like that for game after game and after game, and it drove people fucking insane. But yeah, anyway, so they wrote Shadow correctly, and I'm happy about that. Shadow is not a bad guy. He's not even an anti-hero. He is a hero. He's just more moody, and that's it. That's how you write Shadow. He's not, oh, I hate friends. Ugh. He's like, no, he cares about the world. He cares about his friends. He's just more quiet.
So at the start of the movie, he's just kind of upset.
He is very upset.
Because like, he comes out, finds out that they've been like trapping him for such a long time.
For 50 years. It's fucked up. And he's lost everything. He doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And they killed Maria. That was like the last thing that happened to him. And he feels he wants revenge.
He's
and so
traumatized.
Then Gerald uses that to get his own revenge. And that is the story of Sonic Adventure 2.
Because Gerald got put in prison for 50 years because of what happened.
Yes.
Because he was on Shadow's side to begin with, wasn't he? He made Shadow. Well, he
did
nurtured Shadow.
Yeah, in the film, he Shadow's an alien, which is different to the games, but it's fine. It makes sense.
Because they're in the games, they're from Earth, right?
He made Shadow in the games.
Oh.
Shadow is he's a fictional man.
Yeah.
Which is to say, an artificial hedgehog is the ultimate life form. It's kind of funny. I actually saw a comment online somewhere that was like, why do they call him the ultimate life form in the movie? And it's like, oh yeah, I guess like it makes no sense in the film because he's just an alien.
Yeah.
What makes him any different than Sonic? Whereas like in the games, he was literally designed to be the ultimate life form.
Didn't they try to make the ultimate life form, or was it the prototype for the ultimate life form in Sonic Adventure DX?
The Bio Lizard.
Yeah.
No, not DX. It was in Adventure 2.
Was it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, because
it's the final boss
in
of
DX,
Sonic
it's
Chaos.
Chaos, yeah. It is
Chaos
weird that
now.
they had the freaking Chow Garden in. It must have just been like a little Easter egg. That's just it's just a Chow.
I mean,
Garden.
it's a big Easter egg, but it is an Easter egg. But yeah, that's Sonic 3. I liked it, and I'll tell you something. Like, to give you a great example of how much like emotionally I like the film. Like again, I think the film is like it's like I would honestly give the film Sonic 3. I might give it like a 6. I'd probably give Sonic 1 like a 5 or a 4, and I'd give Sonic 2 like a 3 or a 2.
I think we all can agree that Sonic 2
is the worst.
Was the most lacking of the 3 movies.
Can we agree on that, Frank? Puts a gun to your head. Can we agree on this, Frank?
And Frank's like Sonic 1 is the worst one.
No. Like I said, I think Sonic 2 is definitely the worst one.
Okay.
Like hands down.
Puts gun.
I think we disagree on the next two's order.
Well,
actually no. Wait,
I think in general, I think I got more enjoyment out of 3 than out of 1.
Oh my god!
And
Fuck you! No.
No. Fuck me, 201 rupees. You didn't send letters.
You didn't do anything.
I think the order I agree with. I think I would just bump them both up by 1 point.
You would agree with me in the order? Would you?
Wait.
What do you mean?
Yeah, I think the order is correct. Where I think I like 3 more than 1, and both of them more than 2. But I think I would give 3 a 7, 1 a 6, and then 2 a 3.
I really like that it felt like a lot was happening in Sonic 1. It didn't feel like a lot was happening in Sonic 3, but maybe because I already knew what was going to happen, roughly. There's Frank.
That's Frank.
Yeah.
What?
I just felt like Sonic 1 had a lot more going on than Sonic 3. And I think it's because we see a big transition in all of the characters. Donut Lord, Sonic, and Eggman.
I guess I can understand that.
I think that maybe the subtle changes, I don't notice them as much. Maybe they just need to be a bit more on the nose.
The thing about the first film is it was definitely designed with the potential of a sequel, but not necessarily to have one. So I can argue that, the character arcs are strongest there because, when you have a character arc, right, and they finish it, when you bring a new film in, you then have to make a new one. Right? And sometimes you kind of use your best one right away.
I think you should always bring your best.
Well, obviously, but what I'm saying is, like, the first one is, like, him learning... Like, because I agree, like, with Sonic's character arc in 3, the revenge character arc, I think it's kind of a bit forced, because I really don't feel like the Sonic we know would go the revenge route.
No.
Because, like, if he was a revenge-driven person...
We would have already seen it.
We would have already seen it with, like, Longclaw and stuff,
Yeah.
He would have tried to kill Knuckles, but he didn't. He just tried to talk to him.
Yeah.
And I feel like that the way they've characterized Sonic, it just didn't make sense.
Yeah, because in Sonic 1 when he talks about Longclaw, and he keeps talking about Longclaw in the later movies about how much he misses her and stuff.
Exactly. So he's not really... So yeah, I agree. If you're talking about character arcs in the third film, it's kind of a little... It's not very strong for Sonic just because it doesn't make sense for him in particular.
Yeah. I think it's mainly because...
Sonic's usually
in Sonic 1 from meeting Donut Lord puts a lot of values and this is the right thing to do, stuff like that. Sonic learns a lot of that from Donut Lord.
Me when the Donut Lord. That's me holding the Donut Lord affectionately.
Yeah, I think I just like a much clearer change in with the character arcs. I get sometimes, I've written stories, and you have as well, where this one thing's just another adventure. And, I've done a lot of that with Hail Kane and with Damn Legacy. Where it's just like, this is just part of the story. It's not like the biggest part of the story, but it's just like, something happens. I didn't do it a lot, but it was just like each thing, it's just part of the story.
I just cucked this poor boy.
Poor boy from a poor family.
He brought a little flower along and she's gone. I've taken her away forever.
You flying away?
Yeah, I'm gonna go seal her in a dungeon. Look, she's on my boat.
You capturing everyone?
Yes, I'm kidnapping people.
You're gonna trap them in your dungeon.
You watch, it's gonna happen. I also want to say just one last thing subjectively on Sonic 3. Just in how it hits me personally. Again, objectiveness aside completely. Just like seeing Shadow run around and stuff is cool and all that. And seeing all these things adapted. But there's a part at the beginning of the film where Maria is playing an acoustic version of Live and Learn to him. Shit makes me tear up every single time.
I like that, yeah.
It made me, and like that, I think is the perfect, perfect example of why I subjectively love the film, because that shit just like hits me so hard.
Also, I'm glad that he was very invested in Latinas. I'm glad that they showed us that.
Latinas.
You know?
Anyway, next time on Latinas.